When I was 16, I asked them what grace meant, and my father said,
Grace means that after you do everything you can possibly do, then and only then is God's grace sufficient to save you.
I walked away despairing. I thought, that's impossible. No one can do all they can do. Because you can always pray for one more second, or give one more dollar to the poor, or read one more word in the Bible. You can always do more. And everyone screws up sometime, and that alone means you haven't done all you could have done.
She breathed out in exasperation.
I've seen people spend their entire lives chasing their spiritual tails and end up nothing but exhausted. People who believe in a traffic cop God end up either full of shame or full of delusional self-righteousness. I think that sums up my parents. Both of those things.
First of all, thank you to the RTC. It's good to be back, and it's a real honor and a real pleasure. On the way out here, someone asked me if it's like after so many awards, you get just tired of it. And I said, no, this always is meaningful. I didn't think this book would do very well, and that's because it's my 36th novel. It was too personal, and sometimes maybe that's what you need to do is just cut your wrist and let it bleed all over the pages. When I was a little boy, one Christmas, my mother, who suffered from mental illness, came in, and I could see the look in her eyes. I knew she wasn't herself, and she made me go get a wooden stick, and I went and got it, and she pulled on my pants and beat me until she broke the stick, and then she packed a bag and walked me out to the side of the street and said, go find someplace else to live. And so as a little boy, I sat there on the side of the road with my suitcase for 3 hours. I didn't know what was supposed to happen. I went back to the house and I knocked on the door, and my mother came and I said, if I'm a good boy, can I still live here? And she just turned and walked away, which I took as a permission to come back inside. The family lore, every family has stories, but I knew my mother suffered from mental illness and that she was very depressed and would be gone for months at a time. And so I asked my dad when I was older, I said, who took care of me when I was a baby? He said, if Mom was gone, I was a baby, I was there, who took care of me? And he said, we always loved you. And I said, that's a horrible answer. I didn't ask that. And he said, well, you know I had nothing to do with the kids. I said, yeah, I'm aware of that too, Dad. I said, who cared for me? And he said, Pam. I said, who the hell is Pam? He said, she was an unwed mother who lived with us. My dad was a social worker. And so I had dreams about this woman, this lovely young woman holding me. And I never knew who it was. And so I wanted to write about that. I wanted to write about my childhood. I wanted to write about mental illness because I love my mother. I loved her till the day she died. And I always wanted to please her. But somewhere along the line, I realized that you can't earn love any more than you can earn grace. The second you try to earn it, you have lost it. It ceases to be grace. I wanted to share it with those in my faith. Too many don't understand that. And so I wrote this book, and then something very strange happened. At my first book signing, the child that woman was carrying showed up at my book signing. She said, I'm looking for my mother. I was stunned. It's like, you're a real person. I wrote a fictional character and you really exist. And I didn't even know what to say. She said, my mother has denied me. She said, I was a baby when you were a little boy. I was in your house. I found my mother, but she says I don't exist, that she never had a baby. And there's so many of these women who were shamed and lived in shame and were sent to other cities to be raised or to have their baby so they could just lie about it. And I wanted to write about that. I wanted to say, it's time to be real. It's time to own up to who we are and to show ourselves that grace and to show grace to others. There's been far too much shame. That's what the book is about. I'm grateful that did so well that they're currently working on the movie script for it. But it's always a privilege when I get to share these things. I'm grateful for my God, for Christ Jesus, and for his grace. And thank you to the RCC for letting me be here. God bless you.